footsteps on the roof. There's a twinkle in my eye. I hear footsteps.
All right, folks, how are we doing today? We are here yet again for another holiday adventure on Year Round Tree. This is episode number 23, and Lizzie and I are here, as always, by the fire. I'm really excited as I sit here and sip what is perhaps the simplest and most divine drink I've missed out on my whole life. The delicious cranberry mimosa. Why it never occurred to me to just get rid of the orange juice and put in cranberry juice is beyond me, but now that I know, I can't unknow. I see Liz has decided to tone things down this week. She's not going quite so titillating. She's got on basically the classic ugly sweater. Although in classic Liz fashion, she did manage to find one that has the story of Lord of the Rings in the in the shirt.
I mean,
Like all the things.
that is a thing I would wear. So,
Well, you got now they're not quite stick figures, but you know how they look like on holiday sweaters.
yeah.
And they're climbing Mount Doom and
Well, yeah, because you have to do that with the counted knitting to make the shape. So yes,
Yeah.
I saw this and it had to happen. I have to have this, and I'm over here. I'm loving your vest there. It's got a chainmail thing going on. You're wearing a chainmail sweater vest, and you're trying to be my knight in shining armor this week. Is that the idea there?
you probably didn't notice. Did you see this liner, Liz?
Yeah.
This actual fur liner. That's really what it's about.
I mean, winter is coming, right? That's what they say. So
I mean, I'll take your word for that. I was not a big Game of Thrones person, so
I'm not either, but I know the fashion because it's historical.
I'll read it when he actually finishes it.
And back in the day, they used to wear a nice jerkin and then the chainmail and the fur. So I could get down with the fashion. The story itself sounds awful to me in
Oh no, the story sounds
almost every way.
brutal and great.
Yeah.
What are you drinking today?
Oh, I have a fabulous Andes Mint hot chata. So you got your hot chocolate with the rum chata and the peppermint schnapps. Just a touch. That stuff's pretty powerful. Then you top it with some
I'm pretty sure I had one of those a couple seasons ago.
whipped cream and some Andes Mint, and
It's hard to fuck up with Andes Mint,
it is. It's a delicious combination. And so I've got the chocolate feels there.
So, why don't you lead us in today's discussion since all I'm going to do is shit on this movie?
Well, the movie that we have today is called Christmas Snow. I believe it came out in 1980. I have not been able to find
It did not. It came out in 1986.
1986. Okay. Apologies.
And I believe it is a Hallmark collection movie at this point.
Yeah, it is hard to find information about this particular movie.
It was on NBC, I believe, at the time.
Yeah.
And
It's back when there were only 3 or 4 stations anyway, right?
in 1986,
No?
pretty sure cable existed in 1986, considering MTV started in 1984.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But anyways, continue, sweetie.
Well, no, as you can tell, I have no objectivity. I was born in 85 and probably watched it, the Christmas it came out from then on. So I've got all the warm, fuzzy feels attached to this movie, and I have difficulty seeing all of its apparently many flaws. So, but the basic story is you've got Katherine Hellman, that's Mona from Who's the Boss fame. And she's playing a kind of a middle-aged lady who's running a candy shop with her 2 adopted foster kids.
No, she just kind of took him on.
Because you've got Wallace, who's a brown kid, and
Wallace's mom died
apparently died.
while working for her.
Right. So she just took him in. And then you've got the Alley baby, who's played by Melissa Joan Hart, who's now 6 or 7.
Well, stop calling her Melissa Joan Hart. She's Baby Clarissa in this movie.
Well, she goes by Melissa Hart in the credits, which I thought was also fun. I don't know why they added the Joan along there at some point.
She's also done a lot of Christmas movies, which I'm excited about.
She has. We were trying to parse through them all. I think Holiday in Handcuffs, which is an absolutely ridiculous movie. It's the last thing I saw her in. So yeah, she went from the kid who was taken in to someone who's taking in other people in that movie. But anyway, so basically they're in this candy shop and this older lady, I don't know, she has weird phrases that she says.
That's the thing that you focus on in this, which is cracking me up.
Yeah, because it's actually based on a book called London Snow, and I'm wondering if that's part of it. But she says things like dandrop and confastigated and stuff like that. Like, they're not really words, but they seem like words.
No, what they are is that she's playing a dumb, down-home wife.
Oh, okay. Is that what that is?
Yeah, she's playing a stupid person.
So anyway, so she has the kids that she took in. Her husband was a sailor and died. And
His dream was always to have a son and a daughter, and so she took these children in
right. So that's why she took them in.
for his dream.
And that's where we start. And they have Mr. Snyder, who's the nasty old landlord guy who comes in and is willing to take her free candy, but is not willing to budge on his dream of having a washateria instead of a candy store in those bottom 2 floors of his building. And so he's going to boot them out right after Christmas. And I think this is taking place like the eve of Christmas. So they've got 2 days to kind of find themselves another place to live. Well, 2 weeks. He gave them 2 weeks notice technically, but
Yes.
you know. And then they're out on their butts, and she's been in this building for 30 years, and her father was there 50 years before that, so they just can't make them leave. He just can't, because
She's practically a landmark.
yeah, which isn't really logical reasoning, I'll admit. But she's very, very vehement about it, though.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Give the folks your impression of that whole thing, because yours was very different than mine.
First off, every person in this sucks, with the exception of Mr. Snyder, the landlord. He's actually seemed
Okay.
like a pretty nice guy.
Uh-huh.
You know, he's giving them time to get out.
2 weeks.
You know, he wants to do what he wants to do with his own property. And I think that is perfectly okay with him. Like, if you want to make money off of your own property, as opposed to having this one woman who fucking yells at you and tries to tell you your business every time you talk to her.
And she does do that, yeah.
Who the fuck is that much of an asshole to their landlord, the person that decides if they can live there in their home?
Well, I mean, they did give the impression that Reggie and Gertie have grown up together, and he was some highfalutin guy from the other side of town who used to come sauntering down to the poor side with his daddy until the market crash happened and they lost stuff, and then he had to go to the war and came back wounded and didn't have any place else to go except for staying up in that apartment. So they've got history, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought for sure at a certain point that this was all just going to be like a way for them to finally get together after all these years.
And I imagine if it were a modern Hallmark movie, it probably would have ended that way. But, you know, they were less into that back then, I think.
So what's real interesting about this is that it may as well have just been one big, long fucking one-person show for...
Katherine Hellman.
Yes. Most of what she's talking about is all done. Like, it feels like theater more than it feels like a movie, first off.
That's fair.
And it's just a whole lot of monologuing. Just lots and lots of just her talking.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Like, there's kids in the room, but she's delivering speeches to the top of to the ceiling and stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not facing the child, not having a conversation, just giving the old wisdom, as it were.
Yeah, there are a lot of very impassioned phrases that she says that are supposed to represent some deep-seated value system.
I mean, and she does this shit. Like, they talk mad shit on Old Man Snyder, and the movie opens up with fucking Clarissa throwing a football at his back. Like, she assaults the landlord is how the movie opens, and we're supposed to dislike this guy?
Well, I don't really know why that was a thing. Like, they wouldn't let her play, so she took the football and then threw it at him. And, like, why is that?
I think she was trying to get them in trouble, because who would believe she threw it?
Oh, okay. Maybe. I don't know.
But she also ran away immediately.
Well, she does a lot of running away in this movie, actually. That's kind of what the whole story turns on. So Wallace, being the big brother that he is telling a scary story.
From his fucking hammock bed, which is the best part of this movie.
Yeah, right. Is that dope? I remember this so vividly from when I was a kid. Actually, maybe more vividly than it actually is in the film, because I remember it being darker and scarier and more dramatic. But he's telling about this girl who goes into a graveyard and gets trapped in a crypt with a ghost coming closer and closer, and And of course, Melissa Joan Hart's character, she's scared and she's freaking out. And the first scene begins with the idea of it's going to snow for Christmas, and it never snows. So it does in fact snow, and they're excited, but they have to do deliveries. And
well, I'm watching it, and the first thing I'm thinking is, why the hell is it snowing this early in the snow story? Like, shouldn't it like that be like the big reveal at the end? Is that it actually is going to snow and no one believed it would, and like that's going to be the Christmas spirit? But no, way early in the movie it snows, and there's still a bunch of movie left.
Yeah, because that's not what the story's about exactly.
No, not at all. In fact, I don't know why the movie was about what it was about.
So they go out in the snow, and at this point, Mr. Snyder is going to have his franchise guy for his laundromat come over to the store, and so he's going to the bank and do a couple errands, come back and meet the guy at the store. And the kids go out to play in the snow and do some deliveries, and Catherine Hellman's at home, at the store preparing for these deliveries and monologuing. Basically, she does a lot of monologuing.
Yes, talking very, very loudly and complicatedly to herself.
Yeah.
While, no one is around.
Because she's going to lose her memories in the store, and there's so much of her life is bound up in this thing.
There's even like a really, really impassioned bout of her bawling her eyes out that they probably took a lot of pains to get.
Yes, there is. So the kids come back, but they're out sledding, and Melissa Joan Hart's character hears some crazy moaning coming from the graveyard, and freaks out and runs home. And so when the kids get back, the laundromat guy's there, and he can't meet Mr. Snyder because Mr. Snyder never showed up. And why the heck would he not show up for this meeting? This was really important to him, is what Gertie's thinking. So she decides something horrible must have happened to Mr. Snyder, and they've got to call the police and put out an APB and make sure everybody finds him, because, it's probably foul play. So she does have some pretty fantastical ideas about what things mean, for sure.
Yeah.
So the police are kind of whatever about it, because it's...
Wait, you mean he's only been gone? You saw him a few hours ago?
Right.
Well, you can't call that a missing person for a long time now. Right.
So, they go back out into the snow to look for Mr. Snyder, because the police aren't going to look. And
okay, you skipped over a few things. Number one, you skipped over the part where they break into his house looking for him.
Well, yeah, there's that.
They broke into their landlord's apartment because he lives above the place, like the third floor.
Right.
Which is interesting.
And she's sure he must have fallen or been a victim of foul play. So, yeah, they break into his apartment and don't find him.
She found out from the cop that he didn't actually injure his leg in the war. He injured it before he ever left America. Fell off of a truck or some shit.
Right. So he's kind of...
Fib.
I think they're trying to make him a pathetic figure that way.
He is a pathetic figure. He seems like a nice enough guy, but like a pathetic guy.
Oh, and he's good at chess. The bartender likes playing chess with him. We know that.
Well, and apparently Wallace likes playing chess with them in the end of the movie.
Yeah, well, and that is where we end up. So obviously the little girl runs from the voice in the cemetery, and they go back, and while they're looking for him, she finally confesses that she heard this voice and thought it was the ghost from her brother's story and ran away. But they end up following it and find out that it was Mr. Snyder all along.
Who fell into an open grave.
He fell into an open grave and was stuck there overnight. And so they have to pull him out, but not before Wallace wants to try and blackmail the guy to not sell their house and their store. And the mom's not having it. She's like, how dare you, Wallace? This guy is positively scarified or something, she says.
Yeah.
Some ridiculous phraseology. And
they get him out with a rope.
Yes.
So there is no reason for any of the motivations for anyone or anything that happens in this movie. Why the fuck does she care that much? Why is he the thing that she's thinking about so much?
Well, because if they don't save him, then they've ruined Christmas because he doesn't have anybody else to care about him, and caring about people is what Christmas is all about.
Yes, and she's got plenty of other people that she should care about that he never should have entered her mind.
Yeah, but he does, and that was the only thing that kept him going.
And mind you, even if it was certainly to the degree to which she seems to have entered her mind,
Mm-hmm.
like she could think of nothing else, just bawling her eyes out at, I guess, the thought of something having happened to this asshole that's trying to evict you on Christmas Day.
Well, no, she was bawling her eyes out about losing her place, but she knew that she had to, do the right thing and find the guy.
Liz, that's not helping. It's not making it make any more sense, okay?
Well, I'm not saying it does. I'm just saying.
Moreover, all this, first off, the girl mentions at some point that she heard him the other day and she's sorry that she... So, wait, you mean your dumb fucking kid didn't come while I was screaming for my life yesterday? And in that whole thing, so he gets out of it and he's not no sooner out of the hole and he's like, well, the whole time I was down there, I couldn't think once about my laundry yet. All I could think about was you wonderful lady, you. And
well, he thought maybe she'd come and save him because she knew she was that type of person. But
why? Why would he think that she's that kind of person? She's never given any reason to believe she's that kind of person. She's the kind of person who fucking yells at her landlord and tries to tell him his business.
Well, I mean, the writing in this particular film was not obviously enough to give you that impression, but apparently he had that impression.
Wait, so am I to expect there was writing to this?
Well,
Someone didn't just read A Christmas Carol and then try and from memory make it up?
I mean, there is in theory a book called London Snow that this is based on. I don't know anything about said novel, so I can't really speak to its quality, but there was in theory some sort of actual inspiration.
The fact that you're even mentioning the word quality in anything that happened in this is just fucking bonkers to me.
Well, like I said, it was more a movie that it gives you an emotional feeling, and I guess that's probably all it has really is that idea. And because I was young and impressionable watching it, I probably felt the emotional impact without really having to make any connection with the story itself. So again, not objective, but I enjoyed it simply because I'd enjoyed it as a kid. Whether or not other people would enjoy it, I don't know.
I can almost guarantee that no one will enjoy it. I mean, this is worse than Lifetime movie, worse than a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
It's like, I think Troma might make better quality films than this movie.
That's fair.
At least those people love those shitty movies.
Yeah. I mean, I will probably still show it to my kid, and I will.
We still have it on DVD. I imagine you're gonna burn laser rings inside the thing.
Yeah.
Watching it.
And I'll watch it with my mom because she remembers it.
The only thing really awesome about the movie is that it was under 50 minutes when it was all said and done.
It was a fairly short film. They did manage to truncate.
So it did not take up my entire night.
Yeah.
That was the best part about it.
Yeah. We'll have to do it drunker next time, so it'll be easier to get through.
Much drunker. Anyways, folks, this has been another fine episode of Year Round Tree. Why don't you come back later this week or get it next week and hear another one. So, happy holidays.